Mr. Secretary, thank you again for all your time today. Mine I wanted to ask you relates to something that really shouldn't be partisan at all. It's about America's economy and the opportunities that it should provide for American workers and entrepreneurs. You've long been an advocate for trade, long before this position. And I would like to ask you to give me some details so that our friends on both sides, regardless of political persuasion, understand how important the economic opportunities presented by Trade Promotion Authority and the possibility of getting trade agreements are to our national security.
And Congressman Emmer, on the economics and TPA, I just close by saying one of the great changes that we face in the world today is the enormous increase of much more powerful, competitive economic entities. Now, none of them yet match the size of the United States, but they're getting bigger, they're more active, there's more global market competitiveness than there has ever been before. And if you were, anybody engaged in international business knows how quick you have to move, how voracious you have to, how disciplined you have to be in grabbing market share and knowing the markets and working with other partners. It's a different marketplace than it was in the 1960s, 70s when we were the dominant single economy. And so this kind of trade regime that we're talking about putting the TPP or the TTIP is far more critical to American jobs, to American growth, to America's influence, to America's ability to continue to play the important leadership role we have played in the world. And so if we don't get this kind of an agreement written to the higher standards of international business behavior, it will go down. The standards will go down, the protections will go down, the ability of people to have legal remedy will be reduced, the ability of people to protect intellectual property or have rights by which workers are protected. All of these things would be diminished if we are not able to achieve these kinds of trade agreements. And TPA is critical to the ability to have those agreements because other countries their leaders will not make the difficult political decisions necessary to take one interest or another in their country and change the structure in favor of a larger set of rules because it costs them politically. If they know that what they're doing when they make that decision is going to be subject to a renegotiation with Congress, rather than the passing of what has been negotiated, they won't make the agreement in the first place. So we actually hurt ourselves in achieving our larger interest of trade and growing our markets if we wind up trying to micromanage it through congressional day-to-day without the TPA. TPA is what actually empowers the negotiators to be able to close a deal and allow those leaders countries to make the tough decisions they need to make. So in the end, 95% of the world's customers are in other countries. And we cannot grow our nation, increase wealth, do better if we are just thinking we can somehow only sell to ourselves. We have to sell in the rest of the world. And it is better for us to be helping to lead the effort to reach agreement as to what the rules will be by which we sell and raise those standards rather than leave it to somebody else and see them lowered. That's why TPA is so critical.